Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD1100 C-sharp programming class, I'm going back and reviewing some of the stuff we've already covered from our book, Muroc C-sharp 2015. So right now I'm in the middle of going back and redoing the lecture for Chapter 13 on how to create and use classes. I'm sorry, Chapter 12. We're skipping Chapter 13. So next I'm going to do 14, 15, and 16, where we're going to go in and talk about inheritance, interfaces, and generics, and how to organize and document classes. From there we're going to go on and do 17 and 18. 17 is on an introduction to database programming. 18 is on how to work with data sources and data sets, and we'll end up with Chapter 23 on how to use LINQ. In addition, I hope we can do some kind of a class project. Now that's a lot to do in not that much time, so let's get back to Chapter 12, shall we? We left off last time on Chapter 12 talking about some of the built-in features and functionality. So if you come in here and you type in product equal new product, all right, as an example, and if you do this and you have not created yet a class called product, you'll get a message over here. You get the little light bulb, and if you click it and you say generate class, it'll write basically the stub for you. So in other words, it creates the new class, so it adds a product.cs class, all right, and it says that it's an internal class, and it just gives you that. Now that might not sound like much, but it'll make your errors go away, and it does write some code for you. All right, in much the same way, in this example that's right here, we're calling a routine called getPrice. All right, the routine does not exist, so again we get the little light bulb over here. When we click on the light bulb, it'll say, do you want us to generate the method for you? And you'll notice it does, so it'll generate it for you. It's up to you to change it from internal if you want to, just like with this one. And what internal is, there's public and there's private. We've talked in great length about what those are, but internal means that it's only available within this assembly, all right, that you're working on. All right, so it'll create that for you, and again, it'll remove the error message that comes in. All right. Now, notice the next they talk about this code lens, and it says that the Community Edition doesn't have the code lens feature that lets you display references, and I believe that is correct. I've never used it, all right, and I'm using the Community Edition, so we're just going to skip that. All right, next, let's talk class diagrams. All right, and why? What does this give you? Well, this is also known in here as, it's kind of a fractured UML diagram. With a UML diagram, it's broken into thirds, where you've got the name of the class, the fields, and the methods. Here, we've got it broken into fourths, the name of the class, the fields, the properties, and then the methods. So it's a very similar type of an idea. All right. So the class diagram, it represents a visual representation of all the stuff that's available to you. If you want to create one, you can right-click on a project in the Solution Explorer and select View Class Diagram. Let's see if we can do that. So let's go to our project that we've been working on here. Let's click on the name of the project. Well, we are running the program, so that might be why it's acting a little funky right now. So I stopped the run. Never worked with one of these before, so let's try it on here. And I don't see it on either one. The point is, when you're walking through this, this is what you get. Now, is this going to help you? Well, I guess for lack of better verbiage, it depends. And what I mean by that is there is software available that will let you go from here to code, and there's software available that will let you go from code to here. All right. When you're an analyst as opposed to a programmer, typically you want to start this way. This is something you could conceivably you could show this to a client and they could understand it. The stuff that's in here would be much harder to understand. All right. There's also this peak, which again I have not used. And what happens is it allows you to be in one class and peek or go ahead to look into the other class. All right, to see, are you calling something correctly? Does it look like it's doing in there what you want it to do, etc. All right. Finally, the chapter ends with a talk about structures. Structures are similar to classes, but unlike classes, they represent a value type and not a reference type. Now, in many ways, if you look at this, this is a product structure. Boy, it sure looks a heck of a lot like our class, but instead of saying public class, it says public struct. So a structure can contain the same types of members as a class, meaning it can contain fields, properties, methods, constructors, etc. It can't include an empty constructor because the compiler always generates one. It can contain constructors though that hold parameters if you wanted to do so. So why would you want one of these? All right. They require less memory, they instantiate faster, but it's generally considered good programming practice to use structures only for objects with a small amount of data. All right. So basically for very simplistic types of operations. We're not going to do anything. You can see when you assign stuff, it looks very similar to what we've done before. All right. But we're not going to do anything. They did come in here and they went back and I believe they rewrote this with structures. All right, but we're not going to do anything else with that. All right. So when I come back again, we are skipping Chapter 13, which is on how to work with indexers, delegates, events, and operators. Why? Well, my counterpart in St. Louis, Mr. Gudmested, is doing the same thing, so I'm trying to follow his lead. When I come back, I want to start getting into Chapter 14, which is on how to work with inheritance. But I think before we do that, what I'll do is I'll pause for a moment, and we will talk a little bit in general about classes and what they hold, etc., and see if that helps in what we're doing. Okay, so I'll be back with that in just a couple minutes.